Hey everyone. Hey Janet, hey Madeline, how you doing? Can you guys see me? Yeah, Madeline, we need to get the word out. Not as many as last week's so far, but you never know. Some people might join us. So can you guys hear me? Can you see me? Just let me know if you can hear me properly in the chat box, or yeah, give me the thumbs up. Brilliant, great, cool. So yeah, I was just doing a little bit of coloring in the meantime, but experimenting with something that I wanted to just show you guys today. But how are you both anyway? Hey, Susan's here. How you doing, Susan? Good, good. Janet, you're well. I have to say it's very sunny over here in London. The weather is amazing for once. And if you've ever been to London or if you've ever been to England, then you know that having good weather is a bit of a rarity. So yeah, I'm feeling grateful that the sun's out at the moment. But yeah, let me know how you guys are. Where are you, Janet? Where are you at the moment? Saying it's sunny where you are as well. Perth. Oh yeah, of course, of course. Yes. Well, I imagine it's pretty sunny there most of the time. And I do envy Australia for its consistently good weather. I have to say, Madeline, enjoy it. Indeed, indeed. What about you, Madeline? How's the weather there? Oh, and by the way, guys, let me know if if there's anything you want to talk about today or discuss. I had a couple of ideas planned, but always I want to keep things pretty open. Good to hear, Madeline. Pretty where you are. How about you, Susan? Where are you at the moment? What's the weather like? Hopefully pretty good. Hopefully sunny. Um, so yeah, do let me know, guys, if there's something you want to try out, or if it's something that you've been experimenting with this week. It would be great to sort of hear and maybe even see some of the results that you've been getting. You're in Western PA. Western PA. Had a bit of rain. Okay, Susan, right. Sure. Western PA. Is that, let me guess, is that Pennsylvania? Or, I'm not very good with American postcodes. Okay, cool. Yes, it is. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So I was thinking about how to carry on some of the things that we'd gone through last week, and I've managed to get hold of some baby oil today, and just did a little bit of an experiment. Uh, Madeline, why are you chuckling away? Because of my knowledge of American postcodes, or anyway, baby oil. So yeah, got some baby oil and been experimenting with some of the different ways of how we can kind of utilize it and use it. I know, Madeline, you posted an amazing picture of the flowers, the purple flowers in the group, which had that a really great like velvet effect. You could really see how the oil had kind of broken up the pigment in the coloring pencil, and was able to leave such a kind of soft finish. And I don't know how many, I can't remember how many different types of purple you said that you'd use, but yeah. Janet, you'd like to try the cotton ball and the paintbrush idea? Yeah, well, this is it actually. This is the fruits of my little experiment with using. I used a little cotton bud, and I also used some cotton wool afterwards to just sort of apply and remove a lot of the surface oil. I'll make sure that I send or post a really good picture of what I've done in the group afterwards, because I think at the moment it's a little bit it might not be so good to see on the screen, but yeah, I'll go through it again anyway. But Janet, did you mean the thing that we were talking about this morning in terms of using like a paintbrush to apply the baby oil, or was it something else that you wanted to have a go at? I'll get this set up in the meantime, and we can do this little test and see. My hope was that I did this earlier today just to see if it would dry out. I mean, it's looking a little bit translucent at the moment, so I hope that when it's drier that it should look a little bit more even. But yeah, let me just try this out and get this set up. Oh, by the way, this kind of leads me into the other thing, and it was about how I was using this kind of like stippling or sort of dash effect with my coloring, and it felt really good because you could get these really soft edges along here. I also felt like it was a good way of being able to combine colors together. So all I'm really doing is just kind of applying a lot of pressure at one end and then just stroking the pencil up, so you create like a bit of a dash effect. I don't know if it's something you've tried before or used in any of your coloring pages, but yeah, I just thought I'd just show that today. In Madeline's, so Janet says, in Madeline's post for not saturating the brush. Okay, cool. So was that the post about applying the baby oil to the surface with a brush and then using the cotton ball to remove the surface oil? Am I right in thinking that, or is that is it something else you're trying to describe? So yeah, I don't know if you guys have used this before, or if you've tried this effect in like not even just exclusively for coloring pages, but whether you've used it in art or anything else. But I find that it's quite a unique effect in that it creates. Let me just try and show you here. See if I can turn this light off. Aha, it's a little bit clearer. I'll just try and get the camera to focus a bit more. But I don't know if you can see what I'm trying to do there, and then also how you can kind of create that effect to create depth almost. Like if you were trying to create like a tube or something that is a little bit more 3D, you could blend a darker color and a lighter color together by using a kind of curved dash or curved piece of mark making. By the way, does it look better with the light off or with the light on? And so Susan just says, if my medium is wet, I use a blending stump dipped in it sparingly. Yes, definitely. Janet says no. Add the oil to the cotton ball, then pick up the oil with the paintbrush. So you pick up a tiny amount only. I think that's right. Madeline, that's nice, it's off. Okay, yeah, I'll keep the light off then. Hopefully it's a little bit clearer for you guys to see. So Janet, yeah, let me, I'll tell you what, let me see if I can get hold of a paintbrush really quickly. And maybe in the meantime, if we can try and, I don't know if you guys have been able to test any of the things out that we tried last week or the week before, but it would be great to kind of create a bit of discussion, or even share some other ideas that you might have come across in the past week that we could try or we could test out today or even for next week. That'd be great. So let me just see if I can grab a paintbrush, and I'll be back in just a tick. Good news, I've been able to get hold of one. So yeah, maybe we could try that now actually with these two little examples here. So I've just used the polychromos again. So if you remember, I've been using them quite a lot, and Madeline, I think it was Cole who posted the warnings sheet about Gamsol. Did not realise it was so flammable. Yes. So if you remember last week, yeah, we did a little experiment with using some Gamsol, and yeah, I didn't kind of realise it so much at first, but using mineral spirits, I thought that it would be much safer than using like turpentine or some other type of thinner or something like that. And it was just my thought that it made sense to just look at the potential hazards with using it, because I've got quite I get dermatitis sometimes, so it can kind of damage my skin. But anyway, yeah, just by looking at that, it made me realise how careful you need to be when using Gamsol. I didn't realise how flammable it was, and obviously getting it in on your skin or inhaling it, getting it in your eyes, definitely a big no-no. So yeah, just be really careful when you're using any type of mineral spirit like Gamsol. So yeah, with the paintbrush. So I think, Janet, are you describing to, let's see, it's kind of almost the reverse way I was thinking of it actually, but it was to apply the oil to like the cotton bud, or even to a piece of cotton wool, applying it to the surface, and then to kind of paint the oil into the pigment itself. Is that right? So we can give that a go if that's what you mean. If not, I can show you what I was kind of experimenting with over here. But yeah, let me know, and we can give it a go. So I'll tell you what, I have a tiny amount of oil in the cap anyway. But what I'll do is let's get a little tiny amount of oil on the brush anyway. I've got a tiny amount of oil on the bud. So let's give it a go. So this side will be the side that I try and apply it with the bud, and I'll try and leave a note on it afterwards so we can sort of differentiate them both. Tell you one thing though, it does smell a lot better than the Gamsol, that's for sure. And then paint into it. I mean, what I'm finding so far is again, I really wonder if it does depend on the pencil and the colouring pencil and how it kind of breaks down. I've got some Prismas here anyway. Maybe it might be worth experimenting with the Prismas too, so that you can kind of see how they compare. But yeah, I'm not sure if you guys have had success in particular with a particular brand of colouring pencil, or whether it was just something quite straightforward. But yeah, let me know what you've been trying out with either of them. So let's try this pink. And try this side too. So Janet says, I understood Madeline suggested putting oil on the cotton wool and then pick up the oil from the cotton wool with the paintbrush. This applies less oil because only a small amount of oil is picked up. I'd like to see this working. Sure. Okay. So if you mean applying a lot of oil to the, in fact, maybe Madeline might be able to clarify that. Is that what you had tried out, Madeline, or is that what you've been able to kind of experiment or test with when you were using baby oil on the surface, or was it something else that you tried anyway? But I'll try. You see, putting oil on the cotton wool, then pick up the oil from the cotton wool with the paintbrush. Ah, okay, I got it. So did you mean as in to apply? So let's say I've got some oil that's quite sort of saturated in either the bud or the cotton wool itself, and then to pick up the oil from there, so it's not going to be as dense. Is that what you meant, Janet? If so, I think that's actually quite a cool idea, and I didn't think about trying to remove the excess oil by having it soaked up in something that's saturated. So Janet says yes. Okay, cool. Well, let's give that a go. I actually have quite a few bits of cotton wool here, so I guess maybe it means that you've got a little bit more control. So Madeline just adds, I put oil in the cotton ball and placed cotton in a jar, and then I used the brush to pick up the oil from the ball. You are pretty wet on the screen. Don't need that much. Yes, I know. And I think I know what you mean. So Madeline's talking about soaking the cotton and putting it into a jar so that it remains moist, and then you can dip your brush into the jar, take the oil from there, and then apply it to the page. Is that correct? Because yeah, I'm definitely finding that it just it really does saturate the page very, very much. And you know what? In just doing this just now, so I mean, this brush is it was dipped in the baby oil just now, and then I've been trying to kind of remove. I don't know if you saw that on the camera, but I'm just trying to remove the excess oil. So Madeline just adds, it's hard to get just a little. Doing this my way keeps down on the saturation. You don't need to soak, just a little to dampen it. Yes, I agree. In fact, just by doing it just now, this is great. Actually, it's producing a really, really soft effect without really sort of soaking through the page. And I think it's a little difficult to see, but let me just finish this side, and I'll try and get a close up of it. But yeah, you're right. It actually works really, really well. I'm impressed actually with that little technique. But I don't know if you can see here. This is the side where I've just applied a tiny amount of oil to. Let me just try and get that in focus. Yeah, it might be a bit difficult to see, but again, I'll post it in the group. Is it better with Prismacolor pencils? Well, I would say so far, yes, but I think it's because I've applied quite a lot of oil to the polychromos up here. But in this case here, you can see how soft and how kind of smooth it's been able to blend the pencils. And actually, another great thing I've noticed is how you're able to remove a lot of the texture and the roughness and the mark making there. So it really does look really soft, and yeah, it's really effective. Thank you so much for that, Madeline, by the way. I think that's a great one. And let me just see if I can try it with the polychromos up here. See if that's going to make a difference. But you're right, it's just the tiniest. It's almost as if the brush is pretty dry, really. There's barely any oil on here at all. And it's really, yeah, I mean, it really does just soak up in the brush bristles. Madeline, you're welcome. Absolutely. It's been great to see your little posts and experiments, Madeline. It's awesome to share that with the group. So thank you so much. You're the encyclopedia of blending, Madeline. That might be your new nickname in the group. So yeah, you can kind of see here how the brush is really, like, I mean, the effect is just so soft with the polychromos here. I think I'm just kind of going over and over and over just to sort of just apply a tiny amount of oil, obviously, or the oil that's just remaining in the. Janet, can you add oil to paper first and then go over with pencil? Will that work, or will the pencil not lay down its pigment? That's quite a cool idea. Let's let's give that a go afterwards. Actually, I wonder if it would actually try and or if it would encourage the pigment to almost bleed out, or if it would provide a kind of smoother or more solid effect on the page. But let's give this a go. So yeah, if you guys can see again, I'll make sure that I'll label everything properly for you. So this is the polychromos, and then just kind of brushing really softly with obviously a brush that's had a lot of the oil removed. And then here are the prismas down here, which to my eye, seems to have kind of taken a little bit better. But maybe there's a little bit more oil on this on the prismas at the bottom. But as to Janet's idea, let's just add a little bit of oil. And Madeline asks, pencil will lay down. That's why oil is better than Vaseline. With Vaseline, once you apply, you can no longer add color. That's interesting. I wonder why that is. So you can see I've just tried to kind of just rub a little bit of the baby oil on the page. So I'm just going to take a Prisma, the blue, and I'll start off the page, and then this is now like drawing onto the baby oil, and it does have a slight difference in effect. It does feel as though it's kind of it feels a lot smoother. Let's have a look. I mean, really, let's just compare those two. I mean, creates definitely a lot more kind of depth in the color. It's definitely soaking up a lot of the pigment there. You might be able to just compare the texture. Let me just try and get a better view. So this is kind of away from the oil, and then this is on it here, and then obviously kind of halfway blending down over the oil as well, so you can kind of see the difference. But I wonder if that's going to make a difference with the polychromos. So let's give those a go. What's the nearest color that I have? Let's try this. And it's sort of interesting to notice as well, because I can see on the nib of the pencil, there's a really very thin, very fine sort of almost skin of oil afterwards, and I wonder if it must just pick it up just slightly, or even just like polish the end of the coloring pencil, so it's really very smooth. And then let's try some marks in here as well. Yeah, I mean, when you're applying, so Madeline, don't know why that happens every time. Be careful the papers you have on your worksheet, or oil will soak through. Yeah, don't worry. These are test pages, Madeline. But thank you. Yeah, I always make sure that I do get enough paper underneath to soak stuff up. But yeah, these are only ever my kind of experiments. So never you fear. But yeah, let me just compare, or just show you, and then compare the what do we have here at the bottom? We had the polychromos, which was in this particular color, and then obviously the prismas up here. So Madeline's just added, also be sure to wipe off pencils after using oil or Vaseline or Gamsol, because it breaks down the pigment and will ruin the pencils. Yes, great tip. And I'm definitely doing that for sure. I wonder actually if there's a good way of trying to remove oil from the baby oil. So remove baby oil from the colored pencils, because my thought is just that it would, you could leave them to dry out, and that should sort of help a lot. Susan adds, different brands have more or less wax in them. I have Prismas and a Walmart brand called Crazy Art. Crazy Art's a good, inexpensive brand to use. Susan, when you when you're using, say, Prismas or the Crazy Art brand, the Walmart brand pencils, have you tried anything with baby oil or with Vaseline or any other kinds of things where you can compare how the how the wax or the pigment in them kind of gets broken up by these different things, like, or even Gamsol as well. My thought is obviously, the polychromos and the Prismas are pretty good pencils. So I've got quite a sort of inexpensive set of pencils as well, that maybe I should have put them in to compare. But anyway, yeah. How are you guys getting on anyway with being able to experiment with other materials, or is there anything else that you've come across recently that could be worth testing out for next week? I wasn't quite sure what we could go through and cover, or what would be useful for you. And actually, this is interesting that just trying to work with one of the coloring pencils afterwards. So this was one of the polychromos that I just used here, and you can see how much of the oil it really retains in the pigment. It really it's kind of left it feeling a lot more kind of smoother and softer when I'm working with it. So that could be something to kind of consider. Let's try it with the Prisma. Yeah, same thing. Feels a lot smoother, and you're able to get a lot more kind of subtlety, I think. It definitely looks smoother from where I'm sitting here. So yeah, that's kind of interesting to notice that, actually. Janet, I tried using a colorless blender, Copic. You didn't think it worked very well though. Okay, so and so Susan also adds, yes, I've tried Vaseline with baby oil, that I don't like. Yeah, I can see why it's a bit off-putting. I mean, it feels a bit messy, really, as well, to kind of go through that. And then just to answer Susan's, okay, Susan, my choice is odorless mineral spirits. I live in a rural area and I could not find Gamsol. Okay, cool. Did you find, Susan, with the mineral spirit that you did use, was it a case of applying a lot of the spirit to the page, or were you kind of painting it on with a brush, or tell us a little bit about how you were able to use it, or maybe even using like a cotton bud. I'm not sure how you were applying it. Anyway, so this is just using the colored pencils that I've used after they've been used on the baby oil, and you can kind of see actually how soft the effect is. And I wonder if it's worth trying, just applying a tiny amount, or even that technique of applying oil to cotton bud or something, and then just taking a tiny amount with the pencil, just sort of rubbing it just slightly to just pick up a bit of the oil, and then to work with it. I wonder if that might be effective. So, sorry, Janet, you even just said that. Have you tried dipping a pencil in the oil to pick up a tiny bit to blend with? Well, that's I guess that's what we're just talking about here. I think it's actually pretty cool effect. Actually, it feels a lot softer and smoother when you work with it. Definitely recommend trying that out, actually. And Susan says, I've used several techniques depending on what I'm doing. I also use cardstock weight paper. Yeah, I think that's actually one of the things that I want to try next week, and it's comparing the different qualities of paper. Maybe in particular, the kind of printer paper that's available for people. So yeah, maybe that's something we could look at as well. But yeah, I guess just one of the other things that I was trying to experiment with was just to apply this kind of dash technique here with one of my own drawings, really, and just seeing how that would work out. And yeah, I was just making these tiny little marks here along one of the edges, and then trying to blend it in with a kind of lighter complementary color. And it seems to have worked pretty subtly, maybe not as effectively as I thought it had. But what I'd like to try and do is actually just finish a little corner and then maybe show you guys. And then obviously now this corner here is still, I'm using the pencils that have got a tiny amount of baby oil on them. So yeah, it's you can really feel the difference in the pencil when you're moving it across the page actually. Susan, yeah, you will find it is much better. So I imagine using the cardstock, yeah, absolutely. I think there's so much more texture and depth to the page. I think when you look at any kind of copy paper or printer paper, you can see how it's just not able to retain any kind of pigment that's applied on the surface. It almost it needs that depth of the material to it. So yeah, I'd be interested to try that out for next week as well. Let me try another. Let me see. I've got some prismas. Let's try. Let's get this orange on the go. But yeah, also guys, always let me know. So Madeline, something I'd like to learn is how you go about creating your beautiful mandalas. Well, thanks, Madeline. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. Every time I'm kind of drawing the mandalas, or even, is that what you mean by drawing them, or do you mean by coloring them? Because I'd say, like with coloring them, I always try and experiment with something a bit different each time, and I like to use quite a restrictive set of colors to use as well. I find it's when I'm given like too much choice, I find it quite difficult to create something. But yeah, we could definitely go through that, drawing them. Okay, cool. I mean, really, I've drawn them by hand, but then I've also, a lot of the mandalas that I've been producing in the group were created on my computer. So I don't know whether maybe we could do a session where we're drawing a mandala. That could be pretty cool. And coloring also, yeah, yeah, of course. But yeah, let me know. I was just going to say, let me know what you guys would like to see, or what something that we can cover. I'd actually think that would be really cool to create a mandala together. We could all join in and get set up and kind of draw on from scratch. I think you just really need to have a compass, a piece of paper, and a pen, or something like that. I can set something up in the week, and we can try and get the materials together and try and draw like a really simple mandala maybe next week. But yeah, what do you guys think to that? Or are you more keen on just coloring itself, or experimenting with other materials? I remember, someone had mentioned watercolor pencils last week as well. So, I'd like to try and cover all sorts of things, really. But yeah, let me know what you guys would like to go through. It'd be really fun to try these things out. Madeline, you also mentioned about being overwhelmed by too many color choices. Me too. What tricks do you have for that? Yeah, I think for me, I think my simple tricks are really just about picking complementary colors, and I think things that clash for me, it really helps to, especially with mandalas. I think if you're creating those complementary color combinations on a page, it really helps to make things pop. And I think for me as well, just pulling out the colors that I want to use and then just working with them. So I'm not just constantly going back and forth into my set. So yeah, I think it's really important to try and it's almost like planning ahead almost in a way, and restricting the set of colors that you want to use. Madeline, I'd love to just crawl inside your head, poke around in your brain for a few weeks. Yeah, be careful for poking around. You don't know what you're going to find in there. Susan, with the mineral spirits, if I use a brush, I daub onto a paper towel. Yeah, that's a good one as well, Susan. That's cool. I think yeah, it sort of goes back to what we were talking about with the with using oils or any kinds of spirits. It's just that you don't want to oversaturate the page itself. Madeline adds, it's the planning ahead part that I'd like to know more about. Okay, sure. I mean, I think I suppose it's just it's never that I have like an exact idea in my mind. Like in the same way with planning these videos, I have a rough idea about what it is that I'd like to do or talk about. I'm definitely not reading from a script, that's for sure. But yeah, I guess in the same way, it's just sort of trying to be a little bit intuitive with the way that you're picking colors. So in this case here, it's just I just had the idea to simplify things. It was to take each part of the drawing and then to use two complementary colors. So in here, I've got these two kind of soft blues. I mean, I guess they're not too complementary, but with the orange, I'm just wondering whether it could be good to use a red, a yellow, or a green. But maybe let's try a green just to see what effect that might have. But yeah, I think really it's just, I think by breaking it down in that way, like shape by shape, I don't really enjoy doing coloring portraits and things like that. Like I much prefer doing mandalas and Zen doodles and things like that. And yeah, I think just trying to break areas down so that in my head, I'm just thinking, okay, I'm just going to use these two colors. I'm going to use this process, and it's just going to be quite systematic. And yeah, I find it helps you to kind of focus, your attention a lot more. So yeah, I don't know if that's useful or if that kind of gives you any insight into the process. But yeah, it's just trying to get clarity, I think, in terms of what it is that you want to achieve, and clarity in trying to work out what it is you want to do with the image itself. So yeah, maybe what we could do here, in the inside bit, is to kind of keep using or rotating the colors around. So if I've got these 1, 2, 3, 4 colors, it could just be a case where I'm just rotating those 4 color combinations around and around. So maybe trying like a blue and a green, or a blue and an orange, or something like that. Madeline, because of the orderliness of it, yes. Yeah, definitely. And Janet says, I try to not pick more than 5 different colors. Yeah, I agree. I definitely tend to try not to pick more than half a dozen or something like that. Ideally, I think I quite like the number 4. So picking 4 colors that I can use to rotate around and combine them in different ways. So I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. But yeah, I think just in this case, it's just using the same blue, but then I'll combine it with another color instead. And Madeline, because of the orderliness of it, yeah, I think so. I think it's just for me anyway. It just I feel that there's something quite reassuring sometimes where you have like a system or a process that you want to approach something with, and you want to apply your own little laws or own little system or way of doing things. I think that it can feel quite feel quite good in that regard, so that you're not just sort of worrying about you have all of these different choices and possibilities, and you're also you're not feeling too afraid about making a mistake and starting again, which is one thing I think is can be quite detrimental. I think if you're always worrying about what it is that you want to do, then you never end up doing anything. Yeah, anyway, so what do we have here? So yeah, so I just tried to combine the blue, so one of the darker blues, with the orange here. I'll try the kind of this sort of mid mauve purple, and let's try and combine that with the green and see how that's working as well. But yeah, I'll just kind of slowly work through each part and just combine the colors together, and yeah, kind of like see what turns out really. But yeah, let me know, is this interesting for you guys? I mean, do you want me to continue, or you know, we can kind of end things here and pick up stuff for next week. But yeah, let me know. Janet, my screen has gone black. Is it my device? Yeah, I'm not sure, Janet. I'm pretty sure that the camera's still on. I don't know if Madeline and Susan want to. Okay, picture's back now. Cool. Madeline, when you and Janet say 4 colors, does that include the shades of each color? So which can be infinite almost. So purple, red, blue, pink are the 4. But would you choose varying shades of each, or just stick to strictly 4 pencils? Madeline, I'm so sorry to be talking so much today. No, this is great. Janet, no, not shades. Yeah, I think I agree with Janet. Really, it's more like in this case, it's just using. I'm just using these 4 colors here. So I've got this sort of dark blue. I've got a kind of lilac-y blue. Got this orange and then this green, and then just kind of rotating the combinations around. So. So like here, we are just going to, or I just want to just try and make sure that none of the colors are going to seem too similar as I'm rotating them around. But yeah, I know otherwise, Madeline, I kind of feel that, yeah, I find that, yeah, what, you know, you could probably just create one picture in a shade of blue for almost. I mean, if you had 4 or 5 different shades of one color and to kind of work through it, that could be pretty interesting to see. And I know you kind of almost did that with this coloring page, where you used all of those different reds and oranges and yellows and stuff, which was really cool. And actually, you know, how many colors did you use with that? Because I wondered, to me, that looked as though you only used about 4 or 5 anyway. It was that, but that was with the brush pens as well, I think. So maybe that was a kind of different effect with it. So for here, you know, maybe I'll try like a blue and an orange. Actually, I've kind of tried that already, so maybe I'll try like the mauve with the orange. Let's see how that's going to work out. So Madeline, yes, I did. I kept it to 3 brush pens. Yeah, that is exactly, you know, that's the way I like to work anyway. And but you know what? I think it totally depends, because, you know, I appreciate that some people really enjoy doing, say, animals or scenes or landscapes or faces, and it might not suit things to kind of use so many or such a restricted palette. I think it really depends on the subject, and also I think it depends on your goals. So I mentioned this before, but you know, I don't think that not everyone wants to create like really photorealistic images, and you know, for some people it's just about practicing or trying out some blending techniques or experimenting with like a new material. So yeah, I guess it's really just about trying to work out what it is that you want to kind of test with each image or each you know, coloring page that you're working on. So yeah, I don't really think that there's a kind of right or wrong with that, for sure. And actually, you know, mentioning brush pens, something I've got my markers. I do have a bit of trouble kind of working with them, but maybe that's something we can go through next week as well. But yeah, let me know, guys, if I've been you know, if I've been blabbering on, or if you know, there's something else you want to talk about, or maybe there's a thought about what it is you'd like to go through next week. Let me know, and you know, it'd be great to see any experiments that you've tried, or even if you've taken away some of the things that we've talked about today and implemented them in your own coloring pages. That would be really cool. I'm actually pretty happy to kind of color on for a little bit longer before I have to go. But yeah, let me know if this is useful or not, and yeah, or even maybe even if you'd like to join me on the on the screen. Like I have the ability to invite you guys on if you want to chat. or if you want to show us something that you're working on, or any kind of problems you're encountering with your images, or anything like that, really. So yeah, just very welcome to jump on. So yeah, let me just finish. Maybe I'll just finish up this last little this little corner, and yeah, I have to say, you know, once coloring is so addictive, isn't it? It's like once you start, you just have to kind of finish the thing that you're working on. Let me just finish this last one. Janet, I'd like to know if you blend light to dark or start with dark and fade out, then add the next dark. I'm always confused with how to shade. Madeline, no, no thanks, bad hair day. Okay, yeah. In terms of me sharing the screen, yeah, fair enough. Hey, that's absolutely fine. So yeah, Janet. Yeah, I guess it's sort of, again, it depends on the scene, but I'd say I like to I like to sometimes work from quite a dark color first of all, and then use a light color on top, because it almost acts like a blender, especially if you're using like a yellow or even this like light green that I'm using here. I mean, I've almost done it back to front with the light green first. But again, I think it just depends on the outcome that you're trying to create. Let me just show you a little close up of how this is how this guy's looking here. But don't know if it's let's try and get it in focus. Don't know if you can see. Oh, this camera is a little temperamental sometimes. So it always gets so close to being in focus and then it jumps out. But yeah, I hope you get the idea about what I was trying to achieve there with blending those four colors and trying to, you know, alternate the combinations between them. So going from like, you know, green and blue to green and orange, and then the kind of green and lilac, and then, you know, all the other different ways of combining and joining them together with each kind of section within this part of the drawing. But yeah, let me know, guys, if that was helpful for you or not, and you know, maybe we should wrap things up. But it was you know, really fun to kind of go through stuff again, and yeah, do let me know if there's anything that you want to cover, and you know, we can try and get that in for next week. But if not, have a great week and a lovely weekend, and look forward to seeing you guys in the group and seeing your pictures too. So yeah, if there's nothing else, I'll wrap things up, and I'll see you soon. Take care, guys.